who've slept with their platonic best friend? What happened? My best friend and I were both in relationships, but we had an unspoken agreement that if we were ever single at the same time, we'd give it a shot. After a few years, that moment came. We were both single, and one night, after a few drinks, we ended up in bed together. The next morning, we laughed it off, thinking it was just a drunken mistake. But then it happened again and again. We couldn't deny the chemistry between us. We started dating, and it was amazing. We knew everything about each other, and it felt like we were meant to be. After a year, we got engaged, but then things started to change. We began to argue over little things, and it felt like we were losing the friendship that had brought us together in the first place. One night, we had a huge fight, and I ended up leaving. I went to a bar, and after a few drinks, I called my ex. We ended up sleeping together, and I immediately regretted it. I told my fiancé the next day, and he was devastated. We broke up, and I moved out. A few months later, I found out I was pregnant. I didn't know if the baby was his or my ex's. I told him, and we agreed to do a paternity test after the baby was born. It turned out he was the father. We decided to try and make it work for the sake of our child, but it was never the same. We eventually broke up for good, and now we co-parent our daughter. We still have a good relationship, but I regret ever crossing that line.